Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you some updates on some builds, and also I started translating a Helios to Reforge Eden 2. Kind of want to show you the results on that too. It's pretty interesting. To start with, though, I got this Carapace-C2X pretty close to being complete. I did finish texturing the hull on it. For the most part, it's going to have some little tweaks and things that'll take place yet. I'm sure I got some misaligned textures and stuff in places, but it's generally getting there. I get an idea on what this ship is looking like here. So the base ship was a very old ship built back in like Alpha 7 or Alpha 6, somewhere around that time frame. And it was basically wanted to rebuild it, and it's been rebuilt now. So it is kind of set up for Reforge Eden 2. From going from early vanilla to Reforge Eden 2, so a pretty big transformation. A lot has changed on the ship from the original, though. It's a little bit bigger. It's 4 blocks longer. A lot of block work was done. It's painted differently. Got much larger thrusters in it. All kinds of different things are going on in here. Let me just show you where I'm at with it right now, and I do have most of the interior done up now, too. So this is kind of what the hangar is looking like so far. I've got some more work to do. I'm still missing some textures, and I haven't added in, again, more of the detail items and deco things and stuff yet. But for the most part, it's getting there. One other change is the interior colors are different than the exterior colors, and I'm doing that on purpose. I've been meaning to do that for a long time, but since we're kind of doing a bit of a refresh here with Reforge Eden 2, I figured now would be a great time to just do the color palette differently. The whole point on doing the different colors would be to, say I have alt color palettes, you could have, say I wanted a stealth palette or something like that, so it's all black and dark on the outside, but then the interior could be anything. It could be this, could be red, could be blue, could be white. It doesn't matter. So yeah, there'll just be more options with the color palettes, and whatever the whole color is does not have to carry on into the interior. So I figured, that's cool. It doesn't cost any CPU. You got a lot of colors available. Easy thing to deal with there. So the other part of the ship here, this part is kind of a cluster of a bunch of different stuff kind of all in one place. We have a full medical bay over here, and it's got your toilet and your shower. A couple of basic CPU core blocks above the toilet and shower. The only reason they're there is I just ran out of room. Then, of course, your shield and the warp drives in this enclosure over here. Taxi tank, gravity generator. You got this little crew area here / some utility function. So you got a weapon locker, armor locker, and armor repair. More CPU cores behind the bookshelf over there, and a couple locations to add in a couple superior CPU cores over here. So that would bring it to a Core 9. Right now I have it set as a Core 7, but I don't think I'm going to pull it off with this ship being a Core 7. I think it's probably going to go to Core 9 actually when I release it. I was really trying to make it Core 7, but I'm just so out of CPU that I can't really make it work very well that way without doing hard cuts to it that I don't really want to do. Other than that, here's the bridge area. It does have a hats off to get that rigged up with a sensor, so you can get in and out of the bridge. A weird thing about this ship, kind of unique from any build I've done before, is this is actually a double glass plane directly in front of the pilot. There's 2 layers of glass here, one kind of on the edge of one block and one on the edge of the other block. And you actually can see pretty decent through it as well. So that's actually a viable option. Does not, of course, work with the slanted windows, just the straight-on ones, but it can be done. So it should effectively double the hit points right there at least, but doesn't mean you won't get blown up from up top there. Anyway, then in the corner here we got a bed, and a locker, and our teleporter. And this room I do not have finished yet. This is the farm area, 54 grow plot farm. This one I just got to paint and do a couple fixes to get some lights in here and finish it up. And beyond that, I think I just got to texture the elevator in that room at the bottom here too. This dinky little room here. So I don't have a lot more left to do on this ship really. Balance the CPU, play with the numbers a little bit, get the sensors on it and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's coming along pretty good. and it did remain with a hardened steel hull on it. So it's actually first time I used hardened steel as a primary material on a build in a very long time, actually. So, all right, moving on. The miners. I did get the Scarab SCM out to the workshop, so you can check that out if you want. It's I don't know exactly what to do with the Scarab SMX. This one's actually done and pretty much ready to go out to the workshop. But yeah, it works. I like this one better. I'm losing light. One sec here. Um, but this one actually is a little better miner. It's got 4 drills and 9K of harvest storage. This one's got three drills and 6K of harvest storage. Either miner can move the harvest or the weight from the harvest in a 1G environment. They both can do that. So this one just is a little bit better of a miner. This one, however, has guns and an upgrade path where you can add a shield to it and even a turret on the top of it. So this one's a little more full-featured, especially with the weaponry. That's kind of a big thing. The guns aren't cheap at low-tier creations, so it does require a significant amount of CPU to add that into it, especially at a tier 1 type of creation. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with this one yet. I'll think about that. I do plan on probably getting this Carapace-C2X out probably this upcoming weekend is my current plan. It's again, I probably got a couple hours more of tinkering with it before I can just about get this completely ready for the workshop. So then I was playing around with this third SV miner over here. This one, the idea behind this one is a little different than these two. These are both set up to be tier 1s in unlock level of 10, where this one is a tier 3 unlock level 15. So I wanted to see how much better could you build a miner using a little bit higher end parts with it, and things like that. So this one's doing 12K harvest storage, so quite a bit more than double this one, and a third more than that, or fourth more than that one. I don't know, math escapes me. Anyway, I got this thing working. I was a lot of trial and error back and forth in between survival and creative, and finally got the thrust to work. I had to add another thruster in down over in the back middle. I ended up cutting a couple thrusters over here. I changed some of the thruster models to other models, but there's still a lot of the 1x3s in here. And the numbers are balanced pretty good right now. I do have a trauma station in here as well, but you can see the CPU usage. It's got like not quite 30 left over, and I still need to add some more stuff to it, or want to add some more stuff to it, like I don't know, a fridge and an armor locker, but that's really cheap on CPU. It does have a Wi-Fi and detector in here already, and a trauma station I kind of placed in there when I was doing it too. So I think it'll all work out. So I got this thing to move pretty good with the storage. Everything was cool. I was checking out the power usage. That's a big concern too. So when I was first testing this, I was flying it around like three direction flight while charging the shield, while making the drill spin, and it never really got above 60% power usage. So I was like, oh, cool. It's totally cool. And I was getting all ready to paint this thing, and then one last time I stuffed in 12K of Neo into the harvest controller, and I flew it around, and it overtaxed the generator, and that's without even operating the drills. So it went to like 110, 114%. If I turn on the drills, it could hit 120% power usage on it. And I'm like, oh no. So I don't know. One thing I learned on this build is the fact that if you test a creation like I was with the power and everything like that, checking it out, making sure everything works, so you don't blow your generator up, try it with a full load, because I found in this creation that it literally almost requires 50 or like double the amount of power once you have a load in it versus unloaded. I didn't realize that was going to be the case. So that really put a cramp on this build, and I sort of stopped working on it after that. Since then, I thought about how I could try to fix it again. And the only thing I can really think about doing is either getting rid of one of the two guns it has and putting in another generator, or trying to reduce the storage from 12K to maybe 10K, and seeing if it's a little better on power usage that way. Other than that, it kind of really threw me for a loop there. So again, if you're testing your creations, check them on like our 1G gravity in survival, and also check them fully loaded with because somehow it seems to require way more power to operate if you got a full load in the creation versus unloaded. So something I didn't quite realize before. So this one's kind of on the back burner again. I don't really know what to do with it, and it's pissed me off. So anyway, moving on. Let's go check out this Helios over here. So this is the next thing. I had a comment too asking if I was going to, if I had any plans to convert the Helios to Reforge Eden 2. So I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of a nice ship to do that with. So here's my version right now on doing just that conversion. So obviously the solar panels are gone, and I have to put some blocks in there to fill that back in again. But I did already rebalance out the CPU on here. And effectively, you can see it's happy right now. It's apples to apples. So I'm running a Core 9 setup here. So I had to go with the two basics, 2 improved and 2 advanced, and 2 superior CPU cores on here. Did I say supreme last time? I don't know. But anyway, it works, and it translated pretty good. In fact, beyond the numbers that you're seeing here, I had an extra 30,000 CPU left over that I used already on here. So it actually was a piece of cake. I'm like, oh man, this could be really much easier than that. Now granted, keep in mind I did lose the power generation of 44 solar panels on here that are not in there. So what I was trying to do is put in some turbines in place. They are technically the replacement part for the solar panels. So I started installing a couple turbines with a CPU that I had available. So I put in 2 models here. I've got one of these. Let me get the HUD on. This is the advanced plasma turbine here. It's 20,000 CPU and reduces the ship's power consumption by 1,250 watts. Translating to solar panels, which these are kind of replacing, that would be 12 and a half large solar panels on this turbine here. And then I put in a second turbine. I actually put that in a generator slot because it's kind of around the same size. And this is the lesser one. This one is 10,000 CPU, reduces the ship's consumption by 500 watts. So it's like 5 solar panels. So by using up all the extra CPU I had left over, I was able to put in these 2 turbines for a total of 30,000 CPU, which would equate to 17.5 large solar panels. So that is, so it took a hit on solar panels. So from going from 24 large and 24 small to 17 large and 1 small, basically, it would be your direct translation. So a little bit of a hit there, but I was actually pretty relieved. The CPU really did translate pretty easily. So I didn't really have to do a lot of craziness or anything like that, or cut a bunch of stuff off from the ship or anything like that. So I was pretty happy at this point, right? But here's where we're going to get into some nitties here. Let's look at the performance on the ship here. Now, this doesn't look bad necessarily, what you're seeing here. So it's again all the same thrusters, and this is kind of apples to apples now, Core 9 to Core 9, between Reforge Eden 1 and Reforge Eden 2. So we're doing 92 forward, 20 strafing, 46 lift, 46 reverse, and then you take a look at your roll, pitch, and yaw. So one thing I wanted to address before I show you some other numbers here in a minute is I wanted to talk a little bit about RCS as well. So obviously you're looking at this like this over here. This sucks, right? 6 on pitch. Yaw's not very good at all. That's your turning speed. I definitely like higher numbers than that typically. But that's kind of where it's at. So I've been hearing a lot of talk, and people are like, oh, you should add a RCS. RCS will bring that in. They're not too expensive. Maybe that's the way to go. So I figured I'd test that, right? So what I know about RCS, and I haven't used RCS in a long time, and I typically don't, and there's reasons for that. But first, RCS is supposed to, from what I know, perform the very best at center of mass. So to find the center of mass on the ship, if you get into your N key tool and then go to debug, you can show the center of mass. So on this particular ship, the center of mass is here. So let's again real quick look at the numbers. At the pitch 6, yaw 15, and roll is 19. And let's try to get RCS as close to that center of mass as I can. So we'll put one right there. So we just added one advanced RCS. Keep in mind, Reforge Eden 2, this is 10,000 CPU right here. So that actually puts the ship over the max. So let's look at what that RCS does for the numbers. 19, roll, 15, yaw, and the pitch went to 6. So practically nothing. Practically nothing. I gained one pitch over here. One pitch. I think, did that go up? Here, let me undo that. And no, these two didn't change, and we gained one pitch. So 10,000 CPU for one pitch. At its like most optimal place you could put the RCS in the creation. So that's kind of why I don't use RCS. I find them to be just generally worthless. What a waste of CPU in this. So usually I would try to do kind of what this ship is doing and put your thrusters further out from the center of mass, out on the outer edges, like in 4 corners of the creation, like this one's doing, to create the best numbers for your pitch, yaw, and roll. But adding the RCS, what a waste of 10,000 CPU. I mean, on this creation at least, it is just doing nothing. If I stacked in more RCS, let's just try a few. I would hate to waste the CPU on this, but like let's put in 6 RCS, like right here. And let's take a look at the numbers now. So we went up to 20. We're at 7 on pitch now, and y'all went up 1. So 1, 1, and 1 for 60,000 CPU this time. So yeah, I don't know. That's the results I've experienced with RCS every time I tried an RCS, and I find them to be a fairly worthless part that just sucks up CPU like mad. At least on CVs. Maybe they do a different work on SVs or something like that. But I have not found RCS to be very good at all. All right. Well, anyway, let's do one last thing. One last thing I want to do. Just memorize these numbers here: 92 forward, 20 strafing. 46 lift, 46 reverse, and we kind of looked at those other numbers here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out of Reforge Eden 2, and I'm going to go into Reforge Eden 1. And this is the session right here. And I'm going to look at the same ship at the same core spec, or CPU costs, in translation, core 9 to core 9 basically. And we'll take a look at the difference here. Let's get this loaded up here. Still want things to be instantaneously. I hate looking at loading meters. Anyway, this next part here really scared me, and I kind of wanted to kind of show you what's going on. So here is the workshop version of the Helios-MSC2 for Reforge Eden. And just to check that out, it's got its solar panels back. If we take a look at our CPU, we got the oh, you know what? It's over because I added RCS here because I was playing with it on this one too. Let me get rid of that. All right, so let's look again. This is how it came stock. So 2.1 million CPU, about 30,000 left over. It's using the Core 9 Reforge Eden build setup. So you're 1 basic, 2 improved, and 5 advanced CPU cores. And let's look at the thruster performance. So this one, 182 forward, 38 strafing, 91 lift, 91 reverse, And the pitch is 11, the yaw is 26, and the roll is 32. So do you see the difference? We went from 182 to 92 in Reforge Eden 2. Keep in mind, these are both Core 9 creations running the same general parts and the same amount of CPU usage just translated. But this one, I dare say, has half of the thruster performance as what it did previous, or what it did in, or Reforge Eden 2 has half the thruster performance on a CV versus Reforge Eden 1. But it costs you just as much equivalent CPU. So that hurts. That really hurts right there. So I'm hoping this is just not dialed in, or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this thrust goes further or something. I don't know yet, but right now it's setting up an awful lot of alarm bells. As in, wow, that's a huge hit. That is a huge hit. So taking this ship directly from Reforge Eden 1 to 2, it loses about half of its power residual generation via solar panels, and then it loses half of its overall complete thrust and speeds across the boards, including your pitch, yaw, and roll. And it's already, and if you look at this, both of them were pressed right to the Core 9 maximum CPU levels. So I don't really know what to do about that. That sucks, and it really sucks for a ship like this because it needs as much power and thrust as it can possibly get, because it's a giant space barge that moves a bunch of modules. Some of them could be storage modules and just CVs on top of it and things like that, and that's what it's for. And man, to take a 50% thruster performance drop just going from Reforge Eden 1 to 2, in direct translation, as close as I can come up with, that's a major hit there. That makes me kind of fearful for a lot of things right now. And I again, if maybe there's better ways to do this. Maybe some of the parts should somehow be different, but I don't think they'd be affordable. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. And once I seen that thruster performance drop, it kind of freaked me out. Keep in mind, this thing's already built of carbon, so there is no switching the hull material to a lighter material. It's already built of plastic to even hit these numbers, and it needs these numbers. And it needs more than those numbers when you get more weight on it. That's why it has so many thruster housings and things like that on it to beef up the thrust beyond that, and with the use of quantum cores. But if you lose half your performance before you even get to any of that, that's significant. That makes me fear that if you land another CV on top of here and throw in a module, maybe a production module that's maybe half full of stuff, that this thing can't move at all anymore. And that's troubling. So let me know if I'm looking at this wrong, or something like that. From what I can tell, with all the playing around with the SV miners, you still need a lot of thrust to move cargo around, and I don't expect the results to be less thrust to move cargo around. And it's not what I've seen with the SVs. You needed the performance to move that cargo around. And I believe you're going to need the performance on a ship like this to move what it moves around, which is like everything. So, but at like half the power in direct translation, that's heavy. That is a big hit. And everything was going so good until then too. I was like, oh yeah, look at this. This is gonna be a piece of cake. I was kind of excited, and then I looked at that. I was like, oh. So anyway, that's just observations. Please let me know your thoughts on that, or if there's something I should be doing to do the thrust in a different way that's more efficient and more powerful at the same CPU cost, or I really don't know what to do with it. I just don't at this point in time. It would translate. It would work in Reforge Eden 2. It's just, that's such a hit on performance. I'm scared to look at any other CVs I got thrown out, especially in the Core 9 or above range. I have a feeling that if they follow the same numbers I'm seeing here, they're barely going to move at this point in time. Um, and that's scary. I was actually kind of excited thinking that we could maybe start to build things out of better hull materials. But it kind of appears from what I'm seeing here that, yeah, it's going to be even worse than it is in Reforge Eden 1. So, I mean, us authors here, we kind of want our stuff to move around decent. And with the how tight CPU and how limited the thrust performance is, even in Reforge Eden 1, we ended up making our hulls lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point now where a lot of new builds and starter ships or whatever are built out of carbon, myself included, which is plastic. I never wanted to build. I mean, the plastic was supposed to be for like interior wall trim or something like that. It wasn't supposed to be. You're not supposed to be building hulls of ships out of carbon. But we didn't really have a choice because the thrusters didn't perform good enough to move anything with any substance around. So we had to do that. And now, if it's going to go double of what we already had to deal with, I can't imagine doing anything out. I mean, I don't even know what to do with that. I mean, that's like, but maybe I'm misinterpreting this. So please let me know your thoughts. And other than that is all I've got for today. Just a lot of trial and error and working on that carapace and things like that. But other than that, you have yourself a great day. I will talk to you later.